Hello and welcome, my name is Nate from Video Games Recon, and as per usual we're going to be recapping this week's popular culture and gaming news that I find interesting and think you will too. Please keep in mind this video was recorded either early Friday evening or Saturday morning on UK time, so some important news could be missing and that this video will be posted most likely on a Saturday or Sunday. Anywho, enough jibber jabber, without any further ado, let's do it to it. First off, I would just like to apologise for not posting a news video last week. My mum went in for elective surgery just prior to last weekend and came home during the weekend, so taking care of her obviously became my priority, and thus with my poor timekeeping skills couldn't get a video out on time, so had to give it a miss on this occasion. In general, if I can, I will try and post a video every week, but every now and then there will be extenuating circumstances preventing me from doing so. Anywho, there will be a couple of topics carrying over from last week, and as per usual, let's start off with some TV and movie news. In really news, another Resident Evil movie is in the works, with a new trailer just dropping. These films were fun, cheesy, cartoon-esque popcorn movies back in the day, being more a zany action film rather than a scary zombie film. But who the fuck gives a shit about these movies anymore? Much like the games that got progressively worse, the rights holders for these films need to take a leaf out of Capcom's book and go for a hard reset on the franchise, and perhaps actually try horror next time instead of a pantomime zombie film. Now onto a film franchise with just a tad more of an impressive lineage. A new Star Wars trailer for the upcoming spin-off film Rogue One is released into the wild and yet again looks very impressive, and seems to quell some of the worries surrounding the recent reshoots. Whether this is an indication the film will be any good or not, who knows. I mean, it's not like they've ever made a questionable film or even 2 or 3 questionable films, right? In all seriousness, I think they've been doing pretty well so far, and I'm cautiously optimistic this film will follow suit. Plus, I'm super interested in seeing this universe mostly bereft of the Force. Keeping with the Star Wars theme for a moment, Lucasfilm is in ongoing talks with ABC to create a Star Wars TV show. Although nothing is set in stone, and this isn't the first time a network has tried to bring Star Wars to the small screen, that said, it appears ABC is doggedly pursuing this, which leaves me with mixed feelings, as although it sounds cool, it takes a lot of money and care to make a Star Wars film look the way it does, and how would that limit the show? Plus, how long would it take before we're oversaturated with Star Wars, as we're probably going to have a movie every year for the foreseeable future, so not sure if these talks are a good or bad thing. Anywho, time to get into the gaming stuff. No Man's Sky finally hits the shelves and to mixed reviews. Personally, I saw this a mile off, or if you'd prefer, a light year off. As regardless of how good this game was or wasn't, the hype whipped up about No Man's Sky was off the scale, and the preconceptions people had about this game, myself included, were perhaps unrealistic. With that said, personally I'm quite enjoying the game up till now. It's far from perfect and not necessarily an epoch in gaming, even though the tech is cool, as I think we'll have to wait for someone else to pick up that procedurally generated ball and run with it, for this concept to truly be realised. However, I think this game is no less than good, and enjoyable depending on how high you set your expectations. At least on the PS4 that is, as the game seems to be an absolute train wreck on PC. Boy am I glad I bought it on PS4 in the end, as I was originally going to get it on PC, and had previously presumed the delay on PC was a marketing ploy to get people to buy the PS4 version. Nope, turns out just broken for the most part. I know they're a small company and are trying to do a lot with a little, but probably should have expanded the team, or came clean and delayed the game, or at least just released it in early access or something. The season pass for Final Fantasy XV has been listed on the North American and Japanese PlayStation stores for $85. And although the details and prices for the individual DLCs haven't been fully listed, as well as the names for the DLC being just placeholders, this information gives us some insight into what to expect as well as the price and value proposition. The DLCs are also listed on their official website as DLC 1 Booster Pack will help you acquire more powerful weapons to use in battle. DLC 2 episode Gladius. This episode makes him a playable character, allowing you to control Gladius. DLC 3, Holiday Pack, includes a splendid item pack to make your game more gorgeous. DLC 4, episode Ignis, again this content creates an original story letting you play as Ignis. DLC 5, episode Prompto, much like the previous DLCs, makes Prompto a playable character. And finally DLC 6, expansion pack, an expansion pack that makes it possible to enjoy a completely new way to play Final Fantasy 15, whatever the hell that means. Maybe VR? Keep in mind these are just translations paraphrased by me, so some of what's said here is open to interpretation. In a very weird move, IO Interactive all but confirms plans for a third season of the new Hitman game in response to a fan's question on Hitman's official Twitter, before they had even announced a second season. Originally scheduled for a fall 2016 release date, Outlast 2 has been pushed back to Q1 of 2017. I'm of the mind that if a game actually needs the extra time to make it work, be it literally or figuratively, they should have it. As long as they don't regularly keep pushing it back, as that throws up warning signs for me. Whether this is a reaction to Resident Evil 7, which seems to heavily take inspiration from Outlast, and thus is a direct competitor, giving them a reason to up their game, or it is just a case of needing extra development time to polish the game. Either way, pushing this game into Q1 is potentially risky, as if early in 2017 it will be directly going up against Resident Evil 7. However, if Resident Evil 7 is shit, it could be a stroke of genius, as Outlast 2 could steal the limelight, being a side-by-side comparison on the way in which you should make a first-person survival horror game. THQ, the defunct game publisher, makes a comeback. Sort of. Kinda? Well, not really. For the most part, unknown game publisher Nordic Games has announced it is rebranding itself as THQ Nordic, presumably in a move to consolidate their intellectual properties in a more coherent way and garner affection for the number of franchises bought at auction from the defunct THQ, most notably Darksiders and the Red Faction series. Not sure if the THQ name is an albatross around your neck, but either way, talk is cheap guys. Get back to me when you've got some announcements for those beloved franchises, and we'll see if THQ Nordic is a publisher worth taking note of. The Nintendo NX is shaping up well, as its reportedly first-party software lineup is going to be coming out of the gates all guns blazing, as is supposed to be featuring alongside Zelda Breath of the Wild, a new Pokemon and Mario game, possibly in the vein of Mario Galaxy, and all within the first 6 months of its release, which, regardless of which side of the fence you sit on in terms of rumoured hardware of the NX, is a good look for Nintendo. And in a side note, third-party game Dragon Quest X also recently got confirmed for the NX platform. Speaking of hardware, new Nintendo patents seem to give more legitimacy to previous reports of the upcoming NX having detachable controllers, and shows more details on how the controllers could attach to the main unit, amongst other things, like possibly hand gestures being picked up via infrared cameras. Whether this is all just a bunch of zany patents or will actually be implemented or not is up in the air, but the detachable controllers are looking more and more likely. And I don't know if it's just me, but these detachable controllers keep making me think, what if they had backwards compatibility to the waggle controllers of the original Wii? As they could shrink that tech down a lot by now, and the artist's impression don't look too dissimilar to the Wii controllers, as that would definitely bring in a more casual audience, and you know how Nintendo loves that casual audience. Elder Scrolls 6 is coming, but not anytime soon, according to marketing executive Pete Hines. The reports around this game make it sound like the game is in pre-production at this point in time, which would most likely mean its release would be at least 2 or 3 years out, which I'm sure isn't the news fans want to hear. However, perhaps these other Bethesda published titles, The Evil Within and Rage, could be making it onto shelves in the meantime, as again, Pete Hines in an interview discusses that he thinks both these titles deserve a sequel, but teases that they have a lot of stuff in the pipeline right now, so we'll have to wait and see whether these titles will see the light of day. several years after its release, hackers have managed to bypass the protection on the PS Vita, using an exploit called Henkaku, which sounds like a weird Japanese porn thing. Anywho, this potentially opens up the system to pirated games, homebrew games, and emulators, and even unlocks the ability to overclock the system should you wish to. In a weird way, this could be a good way to shift hardware, as a similar thing was done with the PSP, and that system went from no one really being all that bothered about it to it selling like hotcakes. Keep in mind, this is only relevant for the 3.60 firmware, and if updated could patch this exploit out of existence. And finally, it seems very likely that the rumours of a September 7th announcement for the PlayStation Neo are correct, as IGN, amongst others, have confirmed that they have had an invitation from PlayStation to an event in New York held on September 7th at 3 PM local time. And anonymous sources, speaking to both Gameblog and Vice, say that the event will be focused around a technical showcase of the upcoming PlayStation Neo. So, that was my recap of the week's gaming news or points of interest. I'm sure there's a bunch of stuff I'll miss each week, so feel free to post anything you're into that I missed in the comments section for discussion. Anywho, if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share and subscribe for more BS of a similar nature. Thank you and goodbye.